got ants in my peanut butter. Good afternoon, y'all. This is Ned over at My Philippine Dreams, one half of the Philippine Dream Team. Michelle cannot make it today. She's a little bit under the weather and has taken an extended siesta. I'd like to follow up the video that I put up yesterday entitled Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness in the Philippines. In that video, and if you didn't see it, there's a little banner coming up in a second. You can click on that to actually see it before you see this one. I related the story of my experiences over at Flip Flop Restaurant. It's like a resto bar, actually. That's what they have in the Philippines, resto bars. It's like a bar and a restaurant. And the experiences that I had over there with an older clientele that was acting a little crazy and a little inappropriately for their age. And the reason I'm doing these two videos is because the last video that I put up, when we did the Halloween party over at Ron and Lucy's, thanks Ron and Lucy, it got a lot of thumbs down. A lot of people didn't like it, and I thought we had put together a pretty good video. I was pretty enthused about it, especially the beginning with Michelle's brother, and we did the whole take on, is it the cousin, is it the brother, is it the boyfriend? I thought that was pretty funny. And then we started getting comments. And I took a bunch of the comments down because it's basically people were just slamming, friends of mine, people that I know, people that I hang out with, people that don't have YouTube accounts that can't defend themselves. And some of them were pretty brutal. I like comments, and the only reason I'll take it down if it's not really contributing to the discussion of the topic at hand. But some of them were just, people were swearing, just saying all kinds of nasty stuff. And what people were upset about, there was two things. First off, Ron was walking around with his shirt unbuttoned, and another guy was walking around with his shirt off. Quickly to respond to that, it's hot here. It's very hot. If you've never been to the Philippines, you really can't appreciate it. I know like Florida's hot, and Arizona's hot, and some parts of Australia are really, really hot. But usually you have air conditioning. We don't have air conditioning. So you're basically going to wear whatever is comfortable. So people got offended that guys were walking around partially disrobed. And adding to that was the fact that these guys are older. And we're not in the best of shape anymore. Our man boobs and gravity keeps exerting its, an inextricable force. So people were upset that these old guys were walking around, with their shirts off and shirts unbuttoned and all that stuff on our YouTube channel. And the second piece was, and we'll address this in another video, is the ageless controversy created by age differences. Some of the guys there were 60 years old, some of their girlfriends were 30 years old, so that's a 30-year age difference. And don't forget, when Michelle's sitting by me, there's a 19-year age difference right there. 20 sometimes. So people were offended by that. They saw, there was a couple younger women there, and actually their boyfriends are younger too, but anyways. So people were upset about that. Let me put it simply, the way I see it, my take on it, my 2 cents. The Philippines is basically a libertarian's dreamscape. As long as you're not hurting somebody else, you can basically do whatever you want. A lot of the guys that come here and a lot of guys that stay here, and it takes a certain type of person, not just anybody used to certain things and expecting certain things and feeling like they're entitled to certain things can make it. So you got a lot of independent guys here. You got a lot of lone wolves here. You got a lot of guys that think for themselves and don't give a rat's ass what basically anybody else thinks. They thumb their nose at convention. They spurn conformity. They don't like to be a part of the flock. They're their own people. If you saw the Alaska Al video, a video that I did earlier where we toured his little plantation up in the hills of Valencia, he's the epitome of that. He's his own man. You know what I mean? He's not worrying about what anybody else thinks about him. He's doing his thing. He's following his bliss, and he's a happy, happy guy. But again, people were offended, and the video is getting thumbs down. And it's not that I'm upset about it, but we just have to look at where we're at. Because again, like I noted in the video when I went to Flip Flops when Michelle was in Mindanao, a lot of times it's not other people's stuff or shit. It's our own stuff. It's our own shit. It's our lens that we're looking at the world with, and we're judging people, and we have certain expectations, and some things leave us horrified and offended. But these things that these guys were doing wasn't anything really to be offended by. It's hot. And again, Ron's hilarious. Ron always walks around with shorts, flip-flops, and his shirt unbuttoned. He has a collared shirt at all times, which I never wear, but it's always unbuttoned. And he's got his big belly hanging out, and that's cool. And if somebody was to come up to him and say, "Hey, man, you should button up your shirt, look more presentable," he wouldn't get upset because he's not that kind of guy. He'd be just like, "No, it's hot. I like it this way." That's just the kind of guy he is. So again, it's not our own stuff. It's our, I'm not going to say Western stuff, but it's our stuff. And when I first got here, there was a lot of adjustments. I was looking at some of the stuff that was going on here, these guys acting up. You got guys walking around with no shoes. You got guys walking around, I'm not kidding you. I saw a Filipino, I swear to God, walking around in his underwear today like it's nothing, all right? Because it's hot. It's very hot. And he had some boxers on. He was just walking down the side of the road. It's all good. You got guys coming here that, used to be scientists or engineers, and they're like, you know what, I want to be a pig farmer. So they, build their own pig farm. They're doing what they want. They're following their bliss. They're doing what they're comfortable with, and they're not caring. And this is what's great, because I'm a very self-conscious person. Hopefully, someday again, I can have what they have and not care what other people think. And they're doing their thing, and they don't care. And that's what's great about, one of the great things about the Philippines. A lot of guys say, "Oh, people just go to the Philippines for the girls." No, dude, it's the freedom. Yeah, there's laws in place here, and you got to follow the laws. You can't be killing people. But like, they have a helmet law. It's not enforced. They have a no smoking in public law. It's not enforced. If you smack somebody in the head, they literally have to go down to the police station and go through this multi-part process to file a complaint. Otherwise, they don't care. Especially with foreigners. Two foreigners get into a fight, and I've seen this. This is hilarious. They're brawling around, rolling around on the cement. Police come down, and they're just chuckling at it, and they eventually break it up and send them on their way. No charges are filed. You can do what you want. All right? You're not being held to some super high standard that's just a creation and affectation of conformity and external pressure. You can be the person that's you want to be. You can actually, one of the most interesting guys, and I'll end on this, and I hope I didn't ramble, and I hope I stayed on topic, but one of the most interesting guys in Dumaguete, and if you're from Dumaguete, you've been in Dumaguete, you'll know who I'm talking about, is this big guy from the UK. He rides a big XR200, and he rides without shoes. I've never seen him without shoes. A matter of fact, I heard this story that he got invited to a wedding, and he was told he has to wear shoes. And he was like, "Oh, okay." And he just painted his feet black. And he's also got a big mohawk. And he's a big dude, so no one's going to give him crap. But that's the way it is. If you want, it doesn't matter if you want to dress a certain way, if you want to, do certain things. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, you can just do your thing, man. I'm going to be doing an interview with Jim the Artist up in Valencia. He's here, and he just does his art, and he's able to do that a lot more freely here than if he could if he was back in the United States. And we'll be looking at that. So I think this is important. I think that one of the things you have to realize about this place, and something that I'm still adjusting to, is the idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In the United States Constitution, of which the Filipino Constitution is modeled, I believe, it says something like, and I'm probably misquoting, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed with certain inalienable rights, among them life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." With all the stuff in the West that people are dealing with nowadays, it's kind of hard to actually do that. In a place like this, you actually can. So that's about it. I hope you learned something. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section. Just try not to comment too much about man boobs and all that stuff. and I'll try to respond. I always try to respond to comments. If you have anything you want to add, if you like our series, if you like our YouTube channel, subscribe. You can also check out our website over at myphilippinedreams.com. Until next time, this is Ned at My Philippine Dreams. Peace.